Yo, JD here, and as you can see, we are back with some league racing action. Sorry that it's been a little while once again. Life has been very, very busy, but with the release of F125 coming out next Friday, I will be releasing all 3 remaining league races within that time, and from Friday onwards next week, we're doing a lot of things behind the scenes to really prepare for that, both from just my own performances, driving within the game, but also content-wise, actually getting back to somewhat of a routine and schedule. So really looking forward to that. And coming into this race, if you watch my Spa race that I uploaded, I think it was a couple of weeks ago now, something like that, that's when I actually fixed my pedal issues that I was suffering. I had a wheel issue in the qualifying, but pedal issues seem to have been solved. And coming into this race, I got pole here last season, so I was quite confident. This is a really, really good track for me. You can see in Q1, Carl actually got knocked out in the Q1, so that just shows how competitive this grid actually is. You can see how close it is, and if you make one mistake, then you are done for. And this is actually a 2-stop race, so this is one of these formats. We had it at Suzuka this season, got it again here, and yeah, you really want to be saving tyres as much as possible. So this lap here was, I think, on a used tyre, and the guy ahead of me, Batful, one of my championship rivals, well, I'd say championship rivals, I need a bit of a miracle, but yeah, this is my first lap in the Q3. He makes a really big mistake going into it, and you can see he really slows down. His red light actually came on, so he put it to no ERS. That's how you can tell when someone's changed into ERS mode. You're about to see it going through here as well. So yeah, you can see it just flashed there. So I assumed he wasn't going to continue this lap. For me, it's just really good to get a good delta, even if it's on used tyre, and you can see he's not pushing whatsoever. And we come through into here. He makes another mistake, make a little bit of contact. I think I make it quite obvious I want to overtake him, go into here, and yeah.
What the fuck is this guy doing?
No idea what he was doing, really, to be honest. Used tyres, it doesn't really matter as much, but that could have got me a penalty for the qualifying, which wouldn't have been good at all. So yeah, I had a few instances of Batful throughout the season. He's a quite aggressive driver, to put lightly, I would say, but this is my final lap of the Q3, and qualifying hadn't really been going that well until this point. I just felt like I wasn't really getting into rhythm, and going through this turn 1, managing to do this really well. So this is a really good turn 1. I think in turn 2 here, this was also really, really good. I knew there was quite a bit of time to find in the last sector as well. So coming through the split, we're about half a tenth up, and that's a really good sector 1 so far. But as we come through into the top of the hill, if you just catch the curb slightly wrong, and I think that's one of the things I found frustrating about this game, it's kind of this RNG effect. You have to be quite lucky on how the car reacts over curbs, especially at tracks like Suzuka and here as well. But you can see we've made up quite a bit of time. So coming across the line, that's enough for provisional P3. I think that's going to be P5.
That's just a random effect. So.
And yeah, this RNG effect which you get. So we start P5, and we're only 700s away from P2, maybe which P2? I think with that mistake you saw by the Delta, we probably would have got P2 quite comfortably about that. So we've got 5 lights here. It's a 2-stop format. So starting on the medium tyre, and we get a reasonable launch off the line. Nothing incredible. And track position is very important around here as well. So we're going to try and go down the inside of Gladdy, who actually leaves us plenty of room. And we have a pretty good side-by-side action on this first lap. Really respectful racing. This is the kind of racing I love to have with people trying to go around the outside to get the inside into turn 3. But because the angle's quite tight, you actually scrub some speed. And at this point, I knew it was going to be a big, big risk going around the outside. So I decided to concede. And you can definitely lose the race in the first lap, not win it. So skipping on to lap 5 now. Positions have kind of stayed where they are, and because it's a 2-stop race, you're probably going to see some quite aggressive pit strategies here. As you see, a Batful decides to actually pit very early, and I'm not sure what tyres on. We'll see it when we go around here. So he's actually on the soft tyre, so very aggressive strategy. Maybe going for a soft medium potentially, but the hards are actually a very, very durable tyre. So skipping on to lap 6. We're in P3 here because I think someone else also pitted along with Batful as well. I think it was Levin, the pulsar, who was absolutely rapid. And you can see these 2 guys ahead of me decide to pit. And looking back at this, I really should have just followed them in. And I just thought continuing again, and I think this is the biggest issue I've been having this season, is I just don't mirror people's strategies. When I actually mirror their strategies, I'm normally a little bit better on the tyre wear as well. So, and the race pace is always the strongest aspect of my driving. So, yeah, just allowing myself to be undercut all the time. But to be honest, because of the races I've been having haven't been great recently, I just wanted to have a little bit of a fresher tyre, and I felt pretty confident in my pace. As always, you can see we've lost probably like a second on the undercut to Gladdy. Up ahead is actually on a medium tyre, so wasn't too bad. But a lap fresher tyres around here actually do make quite a big difference. You can see skip out to lap 12 now. The mediums actually go off very, very quickly around here. So we've caught up to Gladdy, and this should be quite a simple pass here. And the goal is to try and get onto the back of the lead train before the pit stops. And yeah, with those fresher tyres, with the mediums, or sorry, with the hards, we shouldn't really be undercutted that badly. And you can see we get to be done up into P5 here. And yeah, in hindsight again, maybe should have done a lot more of aggressive undercut. You can see that Schumacher was quite a way behind, and I think there's a guy called Maddie in this race who I think he started at P18, and he did a massive undercut. So I think one thing I should have done really this season is just mirror people's strategies a lot more, because we just would have had better pace of tyre wear. Schumacher decides to let me go, which is very, very nice of him. And you can see there's about 3.5 seconds to bat for, so again that just shows the power of a 2-lap undercut here. And as you come in towards lap 19, you can see we're actually closing the leaders quite a bit, so our pace is really, really good here. So the tyre advantage is coming in as Levin then pits again for, I presume, another set of the hard tyres, because the mediums actually go off very, very quickly around here. So the hard tyre is definitely the best race tyre, and you can see again, you know, we've actually closed in the leaders quite a bit this stint, but now this is why we probably should have just mirrored their strategy. And I've kind of got no choice now but to go for a bit of an undercut here, as you can see, which is something I rarely do. You can see Batful has decided to continue. He's one of my main championship rivals, so the championship leader, Suzuki, in the Ferrari, is actually having a really bad race right now. When I say bad, he's like down in P6, P7, something like that. Made a mistake in the race, so yeah, we've got to try and outscore our rivals as much as possible. And Batful has got a 3-second penalty, so I think he's just trying to get the freshest tyres as he possibly can, because he knows if he pitted then, he's not really going to be making up that 3-second advantage, which suggests to me that penalty is not going to be removed. You can see Carl, if you don't qualify well, then this is what happens to your race. So unlucky to him. I think he maybe got damaged in the first stint, something like that. But Carl, you're about to see, you know, he needs to make another pit stop. He just decides to let us go. So just smart driving for him, respectful driving as always from him. So I appreciate it. And yeah, our goal now is to try and get on the podium. After 3 or 4 races before this, we've had a nightmare issues with the pedals. All I really wanted was to be on the podium and to show really, really good pace. That's what I was really looking for. And you can see Batful's pitted now. He's pitted for the medium tyre, which I was quite surprised with, instead of maybe like going for hards or something like that. And I think that's because he didn't choose the harder preset for the tyre allocation. He decided to choose balance, so he actually most likely doesn't have a set of another hard tyres. But no, we're Batful on the mediums. They're very fast right now, so the goal is just to try and hold him up as much as possible and negate the advantage of the mediums. Because if I just let him go, there's maybe a good opportunity he breaks out of the DRS, and then that leaves me vulnerable to behind, and then I might not be able to get back in the DRS again. So I want to try and hold him up as much as I possibly can, because he is one of my championship rivals, and I want to try and hold him up so other people behind and the hards can actually take advantage of that as well. So I really want him to not score as many points as possible. That's the actual goal. So we've actually caught up to Gladdy now, who's in a net P3. You can see the leaders are over 4 seconds ahead of us right now, with about 7-8 laps to go. And again, you can see there's a good battle between myself and Batful, and you can see he really dives down the inside. He actually makes contact with me, so if I didn't go deep there, he would have just been spun round. So he's really trusting me, which I'm quite surprised with, because we had a few instances. And again, you'll see go through here, I leave so much room. He actually makes contact with me again. So if I just turned in him like he did in the qualifying, he would have been spun round, and yeah, he would have got no points even if I got a penalty or something like that. So it was quite risky from him, and quite a lot of trust in me. But yeah, I know he's quite an aggressive driver, so I had to leave probably more room than I usually would. As glad he makes a big of a mistake, and it's going to be quite an easy pass. And we've done quite a good job at holding up back foot, because his mediums are really starting to drop off now. And at this point, it doesn't matter if he overtakes me, because he won't be able to get ahead. But again, still making his life quite difficult. Want to try and push him back into the guys behind and see if they can actually take advantage, because the more people between myself and him and other championship rivals, the more points I actually gain on them in the championship. So skip on to the end of lap 28, start lap 29. You're about to see we are not going to defend this whatsoever. There really is no points, so we're going to let him go, because right now my tyres are actually probably in a better condition than his, where he's not going to be able to pull away at all. So we're just going to chill behind him, use him as a defense from this Maddie guy, who I think he started at P18, went really aggressive on the undercut in the first stint, and that just shows where you can put yourself. So lap 32 now, I'm just going to make an overtake on Batful, because I felt like at this stage his tyres were really falling off. You can see the leaders are about 4+ seconds ahead, so keep an eye on that gap. And right now, I was very content of just taking the podium in this race. So as we skip onto the penultimate lap, you can see we've actually brought the gap down to the leaders quite a bit, who I think they're both on controllers as well. So the controller was actually very powerful around here. Extremely powerful. I think at certain tracks in this game, the controller might even be quicker than the wheel in some scenarios. Not on the esports level, but I think if you're maybe one below that, you're not getting absolute max out of the game, then it could actually be a bit more of an assist. But you can see going to start up, having to defend from Maddie. So I think his tyres were like a lap older than mine, but he actually had a lot of pace as well. So myself and Maddie, I think, had really strong race pace, particularly this last stint where we actually closed the gap to lead. So we had to defend quite a bit there, and I definitely didn't want to lose the podium, because that would have been a bit of a kick in the teeth. But we come home to finish P3, and considering some of the results I've had in recent races, I think a lot of that was down to pedal issues. I'm actually pretty happy with this P3. So we actually gained points in the championship on Batful. Suzuki finishes P6, which is kind of the lowest he ever finishes. So for him, that's actually not a great result. You can see the different strategies there. And yeah, we move into Miami as a penultimate race of this championship. It's going to be very hard to win this championship. I'll show you the standings either here or at the beginning of next video. But yeah, we've just been too inconsistent this season. Had really good pace. We had the pace to be competing for many race wins, but just a little bit too inconsistent, and quite a few non-point finishes in certain races. So yeah, if you want to win the championship, consistency is key. But thank you so much for watching. I'm really looking forward to F125, where I'll be doing many open lobbies. So if you'd like to join me to those open lobbies, make sure you hit the join button, become a YouTube member. You'll get discount on coaching, private invite or priority invite into these lobbies, and you'll get access to all my setups as well, which I'll be updating on a regular basis. So thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed this, and I will catch you very soon. Peace.